Professor Qin, we have been privileged to listen to your comments and your statement yesterday at the opening of the conference. And as you know, Conflux Center has organized for the very first time the conference on mediation, on conflict prevention and resolution in the new paradigm. And we profited of all of your comments. Now, I was just wishing to ask you, what are your first impressions about yesterday's proceedings?
It's a very high quality conference. And I have attended many conferences. I think this one, I like it in particular, because when people come to discuss conflict resolution, to discuss mediation, we have the first session as intercultural dialogue. I do believe that is significant because people understand conflict in different ways. Different backgrounds provide people with different views. If people don't understand each other, they tend to have more conflict. And if people don't understand each other well, conflict tend to be tough. So I think this conference itself, it combines both theory, philosophy, culture, and practice. It's really good. It's timely. I congratulate you, sir, on the success of the conference. And also, I sat in on this yesterday afternoons and this morning's sessions. I think from the very practical aspects, they provide useful, valuable information from different perspectives, different angles, and different, in fact, questions they approach. These are extremely important for the international society today. And for conflict resolution, provides different answers. People may not agree with each other on everything, but people at least try to shed light on each other on these issues. I hope this will be a very good beginning to move further to see how we can better deal with conflict in international and domestic societies.
Thank you very much. Thank you for your kind words regarding Conflux Center and the organizing of the conference, which was held yesterday. What comes to my mind, we raised the issue in a way yesterday. There have been so many challenges that are occurring into today's world. What would be to your mind the group of challenges that are most risky nowadays?
We do have a lot of challenges, especially at this time. I think some of the challenges are very real and very threatening, and we need to deal with them very carefully. You mentioned what is among all these challenges, what are maybe most dangerous and most challenging challenges? The first, I think, now we do have, I think, lost some of the consensus people began to have immediately after the end of the Cold War. That time people wanted to have an open international system, to have sustainable peace, to agree with each other on international cooperation. It seems today we have more polarization. We have more disagreement among nations, also inside nations, among different groups of people. So I think this challenge, of course, every day we have challenges, but this challenge, people disagree with each other. People do not have a certain level of consensus that is required for conflict solution. I think that's a big problem. So I think it's time for us, through all this media, media and platforms like the Conflux conference to reform a kind of consensus for our common future. We need to understand, although we have all these challenges, we should have hope. This hope rests on the consensus of the humans, of the international society, to work together to deal with them. I said yesterday, conflict is resolvable because I believe in humanity.
That's true. You involved some enthusiasm, even more than the rest of the speakers. I noticed that. And I think you did it on a good basis and with a very good explanation. Now, in this context, how do you see the possibility of implementing the new Silk Road initiative, which is being underway for quite some time?
The Silk Road initiative, in fact, it is understood as, by some, including myself, as a kind of public good. You can hear many different voices about the Silk Road, New Silk Road, or Belt Road initiative, whatever you call it. But basically, I think it provides an opportunity for different countries to work together. I mentioned the loss of consensus. For me, the Belt and Road initiative, first of all, is a project that people can rely on for rebuilding consensus, at least on a better life. We need to have a better life. We need something to do together. So if you ask me about this Belt and Road initiative, I think several things I always have in mind. The first is sharing. It's a project of sharing. It must be shared, even from the very beginning when people want to take on it. For example, China and Serbia, we need to discuss how we can fit into each other's strategies, development plans, and so on. So this is a shared project. Sharing is the key word inside. The second is mutual benefit. I think it must be mutual benefit. Otherwise, people will not do it. For many countries in today's world, they do have problems, they do have challenges, they do have many difficulties. But all the countries, all the nations, all the peoples inside these different countries, I think they have at least one common idea. That is, they need to have a better life. I don't want to see some people who like to politicize the Belt and Road initiative. It is more, to me, a social economic development project. How these countries work together so that they can both become better than before. It's an opportunity from this perspective. But usually depends, the meaning of anything depends on how you approach it, how you gaze on it. We used the Professor Crook's words yesterday, and how you look at it. If you take it as an enemy, that guy becomes an enemy. So I think this provides opportunity, but how to make use of the opportunity depends very much on the common effort of all the sides involved. So I think in this respect, we do have many good examples, and we can follow those examples to continue. Although it has been carried out for several years, still it's a new initiative. It's quite new. And along these Belt and Road routes, many of the countries are developing countries. Many of the countries, almost all the countries, they need peace, stability, and prosperity. So we try to use this project to satisfy at least some of the needs of the peoples in all these different countries. I hope it would be successful, at least for countries who like to join it and work for it, like China and like Serbia.
Very enlightening. Thank you. Thank you very much, Professor.
Thank you.